Hi everyone, welcome back to Ask Amy. Today's question is about procrastination. And it's a question from Brenda that I'm going to read. And I chose Brenda's because it's short and sweet and to the point, but also because I get a ton of questions about procrastination. And I get it. Like, people have read my book about ending habits without willpower, and there's so many examples in that book of how people have seen how their thinking creates their experience, and how their thinking and getting caught up in that thinking, taking our thinking seriously, not seeing it as thought in the moment, really feeling like life is making us feel this way, not seeing that thinking comes to life and then it moves through us. So we live in this constant sea of changing, evolving, naturally changing and evolving thinking that leads us to do the things that we do. So anyway, the book, my most recent book, is all about tons of stories and examples of people who get caught up in that thinking, don't see that it's going to pass, don't see that it's not them or theirs, it's just thought brought to life. And so we do things, it leads us into anxiety and insecurity and jealousy and habits and addictions, because we're feeling this stuff and we just want to change it and we think we need to change it. So we get caught up in these things that we do, shopping, drinking, eating, whatever it is, in order to feel better, because they do kind of distract us from our thinking for a minute. We get to feel better, and now that's become an issue in our lives. So there are so many examples in the book, and it really makes clear, I think, how thinking is the thing that's behind everything in our lives. Taking our thinking seriously, getting caught up in it, that leads to every single habit anyone can ever have. Any problem, really, any kind of issue, any kind of uncomfortable feeling that lingers and hangs out is us getting caught up in thinking innocently getting caught up in that thinking. So it becomes kind of easy to see, oh, that person got caught up in their thinking, and that led them to go drink, or that led them to go smoke, or led them to go overeat or overwork, or whatever it is people do. That becomes pretty clear to see, and that looks kind of black and white to people after a little bit, which is awesome. It's great to see it that way. But I get so many emails, so many questions from people who are like, okay, I get that. These people get caught up in their thinking and it leads them to do things. But my problem is that I don't do things that I think I want to do. So my problem is procrastination. I'm sitting here doing nothing, and I know I want to do whatever it might be. I want to clean my house. I want to exercise. I want to do these things, but why am I not doing them? And they're not quite seeing it in the same kind of simple, thought-created way as it becomes easy to see with the habits around doing and taking action. So it's a really common, really great question. So let me read what Brenda wrote here, and then I'll say some more about it. So again, thank you, Brenda, for keeping it very short and sweet. She says, can you speak to procrastination as a habit, not following through on exercising, but lots of reading and intellectualizing and planning with no action? So first, and I know this can be kind of annoying to hear, but you're doing stuff, Brenda. Sounds like you're quite busy in your own head, maybe, with the reading and the intellectualizing and the planning. It's just that for whatever reason, you aren't exercising right now. And it's worth mentioning this, and again, I know it's annoying to hear sometimes, but I've never really met anyone who procrastinates on everything. We do things. We do lots of things in life effortlessly. Lots and lots and lots of things effortlessly. And then we do a whole other group of things with minimal effort. Even the biggest procrastinators in the world manage to do some things. And it's important to see that, because that shows us, again, our mind wants to say, oh, I have this procrastination issue. This is a big problem. This should be different. But when we take a step back, because every problem is always like we're looking at it really up close, right? Your nose pressed against the window and you can't see clearly. When you take a step back, it's like, okay, it's not exactly what my mind is making it be. I am doing things. It's just that these things over here, for whatever reason, I'm not doing. So just helpful to call it what it is and to see maybe it's not quite as huge and all-encompassing as it feels. So the thing about procrastination as a habit is that it is a habit and it is driven by thinking that we're caught up in, that we don't see as thinking in the moment, just like every other habit anyone can ever have. So in the Little School of Big Change last week, we have these group calls where we do lots of coaching and conversation with people that are in our community. And we spent a lot of time with someone just last week on procrastination. And it was really cool. So I'll give some details of her example too, because it kind of says a little more than what Brenda was asking. So similar to Brenda, she does all kinds of things. She has no problem reading. She has no problem playing computer games. She has no problem going outside, hanging out, doing a lot of things that she really enjoys doing. But there are a few things like exercise and housework that are really hard. And she says she procrastinates, like that's the issue. Like she just can't get herself to do those things. And what's going on in it? And the thing is, everyone comes to procrastination like, I just need to get tougher. I just need to push through it. I need more willpower. I just need to force myself and make myself get up and do it. Yet, if that worked, I really don't think people would feel like they're stuck in this big procrastination issue. If that worked, we'd do it. That's really not that difficult. We do lots of hard things in life. So it really isn't a question of doing more and pushing harder and all of that. It's, again, taking that step back and seeing, okay, whatever it is that you think you want to do that you're not doing, thought is always creating our experience. We are like a fish in water with thinking, where we live in this sea of thinking, and we don't see most of it. We think we're just in life, and we think, I just don't like housework. I just don't like exercise. We have these theories. I've never liked these things. That's not the kind of person I am. It doesn't match my personality. Like we come up with all of this stuff, and it's kind of invisible to us. It doesn't look like just thought pop into life in the moment to us. It just looks like, no, this is just my personality. Like, are you kidding me? I'm 40 years old and this has been my whole life. Like we have evidence and proof and it looks really real, but it isn't. It's always and only ever can be thought brought to life in a moment. So Brenda, when you're sitting around reading and intellectualizing and planning, but not taking that action that you think you want to take, there's thinking that's going on there. And it's not always conscious. It's not like what I just mentioned. I don't like exercising, so I can't do it. Some of it is. But what's bigger to see is that every single thing in our life is driven by thought. And we're not going to pinpoint it all. We're not going to be conscious of it all. And that's okay. We don't have to be. But it's good to know that it's thought, because thought moves. It's impersonal. It's illusory in a sense. It isn't always telling us the truth. It's just how life is how energy is taking shape and things are being brought to life within us in that moment. And it's evolving and moving, and it's so much more fluid than it looks. So our issue is never, ever as stake in the ground, permanent, dire as it might look. It's never like, well, this is just who I am. No, it's our thinking in the moment. It's never like, well, this is just my personality. This is just what's in my genes. Never, never. When we look at these activities that people procrastinate around all the time, things like exercise and housework, those are the two I hear the most often. I want you to kind of consider that we don't feel the activities we do. We don't experience in life the actions that we're taking. We experience the thought that's being brought to life within us. So what starts to happen is certain actions get paired with certain thinking, and we lose sight of that, and we go blaming the actions. So maybe you I have a client who she would go to the gym and suddenly she would have all this insecure thinking coming up, right? Like she was comparing herself to other people, and I can't believe I let myself not go to the gym for so long, and it shouldn't be this hard, and look at that person, and they seem like they're loving it, and what's wrong with me, and all of this. And that's just a tiny little tip of the iceberg thinking that she was aware of. There's a whole lot more underneath that. I know it and we know it because she had such a strong visceral reaction against going to the gym. That can only be thinking. Going to the gym is no different than walking into a movie theater or going grocery shopping or sitting down and reading a book you like. It's just an activity. We're just going through motions physically, but we don't experience the going through motions physically part. We experience the thinking that's there. So before she knows it, she's like, nope, I hate the gym. I'm not going. It's so hard. And like my the student in the school that we worked with last week too, there becomes all this thinking around it. So for her, it was like, no, I hate exercise, I hate housework, and I'm a horrible wife because of it, because now my husband has to do these things, and clearly I don't love them, and clearly I should be better, and clearly blah, 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 blah. And that just adds this big, heavy blanket on top of that thinking that's already there, keeping you on the couch that you're already bought into. So Brenda and everyone who feels like they procrastinate, two things I want you to really consider. One, consider that we don't ever experience the actual activity that we're doing. We experience our thinking in the moment. So when there's some activity that you really want to procrastinate around, me too, I have this all the time around different projects, different things. It's like, oh, I just don't want to do that. It has nothing to do with that. It's the thinking that's coming up for us. And when it really looks like it's that, it just means there's a lot of thinking, and it's probably been paired with that activity in your mind for a long time. But just to take that step back and consider, what if it's just, taking out the garbage is just walking down the end of the driveway carrying a basket. It's really not that painful. Washing dishes is just going like this on some ceramic. It's really not that painful. Going to the gym is just going to the gym, but we get all this thinking. So I know just seeing more about that makes room. It starts to shift it a little bit for people. We take it less seriously. We're less invested in our, I'm not that kind of person and I hate this activity kind of stuff. And there's some freedom there to just maybe do it anyway, or just do it and really truly have a different experience of it. And the other thing that I want everyone to consider, and it's just worth mentioning in any conversation about procrastination, is that we are the thinkers of everything. So we're the ones who are calling ourselves procrastinators. We are the ones who are labeling what we're doing, laying on the couch reading a book rather than cleaning the house. We're the ones who have to think, I'm procrastinating right now. I should be doing that. I shouldn't be doing this. That's our thought brought to life in the moment too. And because maybe you can walk on the street and ask 10 people and they all agree, yeah, I think that too. We don't really see that as thought in the moment. We tend to get really lost in that one, and I get it. We want clean houses and we want healthy bodies and we want the effects of all of these things. But just take a step back from all that. Don't go that far in your head yet. And just see, when I'm sitting here thinking, I should be doing these things. What's wrong with me? Why am I not? You're creating a really unpleasant experience for yourself just with your own thinking. And there are other moments when you're just laying on the couch reading your book when you're having a really nice experience. So this whole thing about procrastination, often, we have our ideas that we're blind to those being just our opinions. And I even think sometimes a lot of procrastination is kind of wisdom driven. So for things like, for me, I just think like in my life, there's so many projects, things I want to write, things that feel like great ideas, people I should connect with, people I should call, things I should do. You notice should coming into all this. And I can beat myself up and say, why am I not doing this? Like, what is this procrastination about? And call it that. But I can't tell you how often time has gone by, my thinking is cleared, and I look back and say either, now I see why I didn't do that. I'm glad I didn't do that. Maybe it was good that I didn't do that. Or more often, it didn't really matter anyway. I didn't do that. That's just the fact of it. I just didn't do it. But man, it didn't affect my life in any way I can see. And I sure spent a lot of time beating myself up for that and feeling horrible about it. The fact of the matter is I just didn't do it. That's a neutral fact. And I do question whether very often those things, when it feels like you think you're gonna do something, or you think you want to or should do something, but you have that feeling of the brakes being on, sometimes that just might be your wisdom. So I'm not suggesting you get in there and try to figure that out, because you're never going to figure that out with your own head. I'm just suggesting you just be easy on yourself. Just be open to seeing a way, seeing what's effortless. And I know for me, I've really begun to trust those things. Again, talking more about perhaps more optional things like different projects or different things to pursue, whether to exercise that day or not. These are not life or death issues, but I've really started to trust, wow, sometimes they practically do themselves. Okay, I'm going to go with that. Other times they don't do themselves, but they're pretty easy. Okay, I'm going to go with that too. And other times it feels like climbing a mountain to get this thing done. I'm going to wait on that. Doesn't mean I'm going to wait forever. Doesn't mean I'm going to conclude that it was wrong or any of that. I'm just going to wait. Just going to wait and see how all this stuff kind of shifts and works itself out. When those storms pass, maybe it's easier in a week or a month or a year. That just makes sense. And I think there's a bigger wisdom in that we can kind of trust. So I hope this has been helpful to you, Brenda, and to all you procrastinators out there. Really try to see, we just feel our thinking, whether it's about doing stuff we wish we didn't or not doing stuff we wish we did. We live in a sea of our own thinking, and the less seriously we take that, and the more we just let that kind of move through us, trusting that there's a bigger wisdom leading the way, and the more we see that we don't feel the tasks. We don't even feel getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and doing a hard workout. You don't. You just feel your thinking. You don't feel cleaning the house top to bottom. You only feel your thinking. I think it can really lighten things up and make way to see things in a really different way. So if you love these conversations and you want to learn more, please check out thelittleschoolofbigchange.com. We're going to be opening for enrollment again in the end of October, but you can join the wait list there and get all kinds of cool things while you're waiting. And if you have a question that you want me to answer next Monday at 1 o'clock Eastern, send it to me at AskAmy at thelittleschoolofbigchange.com. And thanks for being here, and I'll see you then.